What's going on? So we're going to Kansas City today, and we're going to a concert tonight. Taking the Bolt and fully charged last night. Hey. Fully charged the car last night, and with the charge point that I took it to our level 2 to get the charge up in a shorter amount of time, it took about what it should have to get to 100%. And of course, driving home, I utilized about a kilowatt hour. So I ended up plugging it in again to top off the charge, and it completed at about 12:15, plugged it in around 11:30. So about 45 minutes to finish completing the charge. Leaving today, see how it does. I don't think the issue I've been having has anything to do with the battery fully charging. It only has an issue with Hilltop Reserve and stopping the charge at the right point and then indicating the correct level at that point. Here's a picture of something I forgot to post, and then I made it the thumbnail for that video. 252 miles per kilowatt hour here in Kansas. Not really possible. We don't really have any hills to go down per se like that, but it's quite interesting. Made it to Kansas City just fine. According to the dash, was getting 4 miles per kilowatt hour for 190 miles. 47 kilowatt hours used, and there's a charge point at the hotel, but it wasn't on PlugShare. So this trip went pretty well. Used less power than I'd used the previous times I've been up here, at least according to the dash. But see what it says it puts in when I go to charge it. Overnight trip. Well, we're on day 2 of our overnight trip, and we had fully charged the car. It took 51.28 kilowatt hours. For what was utilized in the battery, it was about 47 kilowatt hours. So we're still looking at, with transmission loss, it took about what it was. I mean, I'm guessing on the transmission loss. So we have 228 miles of range according to the mid-range, and I fully expect the average to maintain about 3.9 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. And as you can see, we haven't really been doing too hot this morning. For one, we had the AC on, and yeah, obviously I need to clean the car. I haven't had a chance to, but we're gonna go ahead and get back to Wichita, get the car charged up to 88% so I can drop it off in the morning over on the other side of Wichita, because Davis Moore is on the west side of Wichita and I live on the east side. And hopefully they'll see what I've been seeing with that, because the problem has changed twice in the sense of it's not the same exact thing, but it's still overall not indicating right whenever you charge it on Hilltop Reserve. So hopefully they see it. I had a message from General Motors this morning on Twitter and gave them a little bit more detail, told them that I'm taking the car in again, and they're waiting on me. So we're gonna get back to Wichita. I'll catch you all then. So I made it back to Wichita. It took about 3 hours. On the way there, we were getting about 4.1 miles to the kilowatt hour. On the way back, though, we were getting 3.8. About 180 miles. Typically, you know, that really works out to about pretty good range. I mean, the car does great for considering I was doing 65 miles an hour both directions, and that is really where the ideal is for me, at least in my opinion, that the car does decent on long trips, anything below 65 miles an hour. You obviously lose a lot with the regen. Like on the way there, going down the few hills that are here in Kansas, the car did get a couple of kilowatts of regen at the time indicated, but you know, maybe a couple of tenths of a kilowatt at most. But it's still, you're not utilizing really any energy during it on the way back because of the headwind and everything that we were having. Even when we were coming down the decent sized hills, we were still utilizing 1 kilowatt versus getting any regen at all. And obviously the car made it. The car made it just fine. We're on our way to the BMW dealership to charge it up, have it put back on Hilltop Reserve. We're going to check to see how that works because of the issues I have been having with Hilltop Reserve. But the car's going in tomorrow to the shop, and we're going to see what's going to happen, see if they actually find anything. Honestly, I'm going to reset all the energy usage things before I unplug the car, and I'm leaving the BMW dealership. Actually, I'll probably just reset it now as soon as I plug in. That way, it's a clean slate once I start driving. And if, like what happened with the last one, 252 miles per kilowatt hour for the first 5 miles after charging, we'll find out if it shows that. And if that's the case, I mean, it's obviously got more power in the battery than what it's indicating. So maybe it's an issue with the battery calibration being pretty much completely wiped out, and General Motors is supposed to tell you to recharge it 100% X amount of times, or there's actually something wrong with the software update where Hilltop Reserve doesn't indicate right. Either the battery overshoots or whatnot. You know, it's really hard to tell unless they actually can find something wrong. Whirling sound is good. Car beeps, it's charging. $7:58 p.m. 2.5 hours to 80. So probably about another 30 minutes after that to the 88%. Maybe a little bit less, but we'll be back. I had to come back to the car because the car stopped charging, and it turns out that the DC fast charger just completely shut off. Like, there's no indication that it's even working or anything. It's just dead. I mean, it was like 87%. So it's right there according to the app for cutting off. But I mean, with the charging station being completely dead, it wasn't able to finish charging. Completely dead. I killed it. We are back in the car after 10 minutes of it being on the level 2 charger, and I am about to drive home. Hopefully we see something